mantras of our Lord Sri Aurobindo. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, the direct opening of the psychic center is easy only when the egocentricity is greatly diminished and also if there is a strong bhakti for the mother. A spiritual humility and sense of submission and dependence is necessary. With our love and blessings, says our Lord Sri Aurobindo. Words of our Divine Mother, taken from the collective works of our Divine Mother, Volume 7, page 74, topic Finding the Psychic Being Through Interiorization. Our Divine Mother says, one can find the psychic through each part of the consciousness. You can find a psychic behind the physical. You can enter into contact with the psychic directly through the physical consciousness, directly through the vital consciousness, and directly through the mental consciousness. It is not as though you had to cross all the states of being in order to find the psychic. You can enter the psychic without leaving your physical consciousness through interiorization because it is not an ascent or gradation. It is an interiorization, and this can be done without passing through the other states of the being directly. That is why Sri Aurobindo means you are in the physical consciousness. Nothing prevents you from opening this physical consciousness to the psychic consciousness. You don't need to develop vitally or mentally or return to these states of the being in order to enter into contact with the psychic. You can enter directly. The psychic manifests itself directly in your physical without passing through the other states, and that is what it means, says our Divine Mother. Next, words of our Mother taken from the volume 12 from page 32, topic The Starting Point. Our Divine Mother gives the guidance and says, the starting point is to seek in yourself that which is independent of the body and the circumstance of life, which is not born of the mental formation that you have been given the language you speak, the habits and customs of the environment in which you live, the country where you are born, or the age to which you belong. You must find in the depths of your being that which carries in it a sense of universality, limitless expansion, unbroken continuity. Then you decentralize, extend, and widen yourself. You begin to live in all things and in all beings. The barriers separating individuals from each other break down. You think in their thoughts, vibrate in their sensations, feel in their feelings, live in the life of all. Our Divine Mother says, what seemed inert suddenly becomes full of life. Stones quicken, plants feel and will and suffer. Plants feel, animals speak in a language more or less inarticulate but clear and expressive. Everything is animated by a marvelous consciousness without time or limit. And this is only one aspect of the psychic realization. There are others, many others. All help you to go beyond the barriers of your egoism, the walls of your external personality, the impotence of your reactions, and the incapacity of your will, says our Divine Mother. Next, from the same volume, from the Collective Works of Our Divine Mother, Volume 12, page 35, topic Few Fundamental Steps. The guidance given by our Divine Mother continues to say, the first and perhaps the most important point is that the mind is incapable of judging spiritual things. All those who have written on this subject have said so, but very few are those who have put it into practice. And yet, in order to proceed on the path, it is absolutely indispensable to abstain from all mental opinion and reactions. Our Divine Mother says, give up all personal seeking for comfort, satisfaction, enjoyment, or happiness. Be only a burning fire for progress. Take whatever comes to you as an aid to your progress and immediately make whatever progress is required. Our Divine Mother says, try to take pleasure in all you do, but never do anything for the sake of pleasure. Never get excited, nervous, or agitated. Remain perfectly calm in the face of all circumstances, and yet be always alert to discover what progress you still have to make and lose no time in making it. Never take physical happenings at their face value. They are always a clumsy attempt to express something else, the true thing which escapes our superficial understanding. Our Divine Mother says, never complain of the behavior of anyone unless you have the power to change in his nature what makes him act in this way. And if you have the power, change him instead of complaining. Our Divine Mother says, whatever you do, never forget the goal which you have set before you. There is nothing great or small. Once you have set out on this great discovery, all things are equally important and can either hasten or delay its success. Thus, before you eat, concentrate a few seconds in the aspiration that the food you are about to eat may bring your body the substance it needs to serve as a solid basis for your effort towards the great discovery, and give it the energy for persistence and perseverance in the effort. Before you go to sleep, concentrate a few seconds in the aspiration that the sleep may restore your fatigued nerves, bring calm and quietness to your brain, so that on waking you may, with renewed vigor and energy, begin your journey on the path of the great discovery. Our Divine Mother says, before you act, concentrate in the will that your action may help or at least in no way hinder your march towards the greater discovery. When you speak, before the words come out of your mouth, concentrate just long enough to check your words and allow only those that are absolutely necessary to pass, only those that are not in any way harmful to your progress on the path of the great discovery. Our Divine Mother says, to sum up, never forget the purpose and goal of your life. The will for the great discovery should be always there above you, above what you do and what you are like, a huge bird of light dominating all the moments of your being. Before the untiring persistence of your effort, an inner door will suddenly open and you will emerge into a dazzling splendor. You will emerge into a dazzling splendor that will bring you the certitude of immortality, the concrete experience that you have always lived and always shall live, that external forms alone perish, and that these forms are in relation to what you are in relativity.
Sont celles qui font le moins de bruit. La manifestation
Before the untiring persistence of your effort, an inner door will suddenly open and you will emerge into a dazzling splendor that will bring you the certitude of immortality, the concrete experience that you have always lived and always shall live, that external forms alone perish, and that these forms are in relation to what you are in reality, like clothes that are thrown away when worn out. Then you will stand erect, freed from all chains, and instead of advancing laboriously under the weight of circumstances imposed upon you by nature, which you had to endure and bear, if you did not want to be crushed by them, you are able to walk on, straight and firm, conscious of your destiny, master of your life, says our Divine Mother. Next topic taken from the collective works of our Divine Mother, Volume 7, page 268, topic An Image for Meditation. Our Divine Mother says to sit in meditation before a closed door as though it were a heavy door of bronze, and one sits in front of it with the will that it may open and to pass to the other side, and so the whole concentration, the whole aspiration is gathered into a beam and pushes against the door and pushes more and more with an increasing energy until all of a sudden it bursts open and one enters. It makes a very powerful impression. And so one is as though plunged into the light, and then one has the full enjoyment of a sudden and radical change of consciousness with an illumination that captures one entirely, and the feeling that one is becoming another person. And this is very concrete and very powerful way of entering into contact with one's psychic being, says our Divine Mother. Next topic is taken from the collective works of our Divine Mother, Volume 12, page 4, topic Psychic Discipline. Our Divine Mother says, giving us the guidance, the starting point is what can be called the psychic discipline. We give the name psychic to the psychological center of our being, the seat within us of the highest truth of our existence, that which can know this truth and set it in movement. It is therefore of capital importance to become conscious of its presence in us, to concentrate on this presence until it becomes a living fact for us and we can identify ourselves with it. Our Divine Mother says, in various times and places, many methods have been prescribed for attaining this perception and ultimately achieving this identification. Some methods are psychological, some religious, some mechanical. In reality, everyone has to find the one which suits him the best. And if one has an ardent and steadfast aspiration, a persistent and dynamic will, one is sure to meet in another way or another, in one way or in reality, says our Divine Mother, everyone has to find the one which suits him best, and if one has an ardent and steadfast aspiration, a persistent and dynamic will, one is sure to meet, in one way or another, outwardly through reading and study, inwardly through concentration, meditation, and revelation and experience, the help one needs to reach the goal. Our Divine Mother says only one thing is absolutely indispensable: the will to discover and to realize. This discovery and realization should be the primary preoccupation of our being, the pearl of great price which we must acquire at any cost. Whatever you do, whatever be your occupation, activities, the will to find the truth of your being and to unite with it must be always living and present behind all that you do, all that you feel, all that you think. Our Divine Mother says, to complement this moment of inner discovery, it must be good not to neglect the development of the mind. For the mental instrument can equally be a great help or a great hindrance. In its natural state, the human mind is always limited in its vision, narrow in its understanding, rigid in its conceptions, and a constant effort is therefore needed to widen it, to make it more supple and profound. Our Divine Mother says, so it is very necessary to consider everything from as many points of view as possible. Towards this end, there is an exercise which gives you great compliments, supplements. Towards this end, there is an exercise which gives great supplements and elevation to the thought. It is as follows. A clearly formulated thesis is set. Against it is opposed its antithesis, formulated with the same precision. Then, by careful reflection, the problem must be widened or transcended until a synthesis is found which unites the two contraries in a larger, higher, and more comprehensive idea. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says in the book Synthesis of Yoga in volume 20, page 155, how to light the psychic fire, and says, a psychic fire within must be lit, into which all is thrown with the divine name upon it. But how to light it? Our Divine Mother says by aspiration, by the will for progress, by the urge towards perfection. Above all, it is the will for progress and self-purification which lights the fire. The will for progress, those who have a strong will, when they turn towards a spiritual progress and purification, automatically the light, the fire within themselves is lit. And each defect one wants to cure, or each progress one wants to make, if all that is thrown into the fire, it turns with a new intensity. And this is not an image, it is a fact in the subtle physical. Our Divine Mother says one can feel the warmth of the flame, one can see in the subtle physical the light of the flame, and when there is something in the nature which prevents one from advancing and one throws it into this fire, it begins to burn and the flame becomes more intense, says our Divine Mother. Next topic, our Divine Mother talks about the sign of last birth in conversation with a disciple on September 5th, 1962, and says, generally speaking, those who practice yoga have either a fully developed, independent psychic being which has taken birth to do the divine's work, or else a psychic being in its last incarnation wanting to complete its development and realize itself. Our Divine Mother says this is what aspires and this is what it has the contact. So, when you are told, become conscious of your psychic being, it is for the being formed by the external nature to contact the divine presence through the psychic being. Then the psychic being takes charge of the whole being. In fact, it is the inner guide. Well, when I was a little child, this person, which wasn't a person but an expression of a certain consciousness and will, was actually the psychic presence. There was something else behind, but that's a special case. And what happened to me, says our Divine Mother, happens to everyone whose psychic being has deliberately incarnated. The psychic being guides your life, and if you let it act freely, it arranges all circumstances. It is truly wonderful. I have seen, not only for myself, but for so many people who also had conscious psychic beings, that everything is arranged with a view, not at all your personal egoistic satisfaction, but ultimate progress and realization. And all circumstances of life, even those who call disastrous, are there to lead you where you have to go as swiftly as possible, says our Divine Mother.